And then the third one is just really strong, just I think, increase in women's health this year. I think starting from even JPM at the very beginning of the year, there were a lot more designated sessions on women's health that were probably some of the most well attended sessions and things like that. A lot more discussion around it as well, even on the main stage, not just the different side events. So I'm super excited about all of these different trends, and we're seeing that at the earliest stages with the types of companies that are pitching the council as well.
Yeah, I had the women's health one on my list too. This is something we've always cared about. Obviously, we invest in founders of all backgrounds, but Rachel and I both being women and running a community of female angel investors is one of our deal channels. There's a lot of passion around women's health. And so it's always been interesting. But now what we're seeing is like verified data showing that women are top consumers of healthcare, and healthcare is a huge area, huge market for these consumers. And so I had the pleasure of going to the Women in Venture conference hosted by Citizens Bank recently. And there were panelists there in a small room of people, contributing to the conversation. But we had folks in VP level or above at companies like MIDI Health, Function Health, Aura. And it was fascinating to hear how even some of these companies that are, positioned brand wise for the general population, like Function Health and Aura, they are very, very seriously looking at women's health as a way to grow their business to the point where Aura really kind of internally has pivoted toward that as a main focus area. I think, I'm going to quote my memory, and the exec that I heard in person saying this, but I think women are now 70% of their user base and have a 90% retention rate. And so that's incredible for any product out there. And that's a user base that you need to take really seriously. And I think publicly they've said like two-ish years ago, they said it was like 59%. So almost 60% of their users at that time were women. And I think since focusing more on women, they've seen that even go up dramatically. And now that's a huge contributor to them having grown into an $11 billion valuation. And now there's a rumored IPO. So that's just been really, fascinating to hear what's happening there, and that this is now becoming something that everybody invests in and everybody should be thinking
Yeah.
about, not just women.
Totally agreed. And it's awesome to see that. And it makes a lot of sense too when you actually take a step back to think about it, like why it would be such a strong retention driver, just given like how there's so many different phases of life that
Yeah.
affect women's health specifically.